In Greenland, silence feels heavier than sound. In the winter months, the land turns into an endless white desert where the sky and the ice blend together and distance becomes impossible to judge. For generations, the Inuit people have lived there, learning which paths were safe and which were not. In the early 1950s, 3 Inuit hunters left their small settlement in northern Greenland to hunt seals. In Greenland, silence feels heavier than sound. In the winter months, the land turns into an endless white desert where the sky and the ice blend together and distance becomes impossible to judge. For generations, the Inuit people have lived there, learning which paths were safe and which were not. In the early 1950s, 3 Inuit hunters left their small settlement in northern Greenland to hunt seals. This was not unusual. They were experienced men, familiar with the weather, the terrain, and the dangers of the frozen land. Each of them had survived harsher winters before. They brought a sled, food supplies, rifles, and thick fur clothing. According to witnesses, they were calm and confident when they left. They were expected to return within 2 days. They never did. When the 3rd day passed without any sign of them, the elders of the settlement grew uneasy. In Greenland, storms can delay hunters, but silence is never a good sign. A search party was organized and sent out along the route the hunters were believed to have taken. The weather was clear, visibility was good. There had been no major storms in the area. After several hours, the search team found something. The sled. It was standing upright on the ice, exactly where it should not have been. The dogs were gone, but there were no signs of violence. The sled had not overturned. The supplies were still there, food untouched, weapons resting where they had been placed. Even spare clothing was neatly packed. It looked as if the hunters had simply stepped away for a moment. Then the searchers noticed the footprints. 3 clear sets of tracks led away from the sled, heading toward the open ice. At first, this seemed normal. But as they followed the footprints, something felt wrong. The tracks were too calm, no running, no signs of panic. And then, without warning, the footprints stopped. There were no drag marks, no broken ice, no blood, no signs of struggle. The tracks ended abruptly, as if the men had vanished into the air. The search team spread out, scanning the ice for cracks or thin areas. There were none. The ice was solid and thick. Falling through was impossible at that location. They searched the surrounding area for hours, calling out names, listening for any response. All they heard was wind. The men were never found. Authorities later suggested that extreme cold, disorientation, or sudden weather conditions may have caused the hunters to wander off and perish somewhere beyond the search area. But this explanation did not satisfy the locals. The weather records showed no sudden storms, and experienced Inuit hunters do not abandon their supplies in the middle of open ice. Among the Inuit elders, a different explanation was quietly shared. They spoke of places in Greenland that are not empty, even when they appear so. Areas where the land feels wrong, where sound disappears, and where hunters are warned never to travel alone. Some called it a presence. Others described it as something that mimics familiar voices, calling people away from safety. According to these stories, once someone follows those voices, the land takes them. No official investigation ever proved what happened to the 3 hunters. Over time, the incident faded from public records, surviving mostly through oral accounts passed down in the region. But even decades later, hunters in northern Greenland avoid that stretch of ice. They say that sometimes, on quiet days, you can still see old tracks frozen into the surface, footprints that go on for a short distance, and then, suddenly, stop.